It is time to come back into the room and start slowly by opening your eyes, moving your fingers, moving some other parts of your body that need a little bit of movement. Thank you very much for being here. And now we're moving into our next part of the session today, our extended first Sunday. We have Tina been from Mindful Boston, and I'm going to post the link to Mindful Boston in the chat.
Hello, everybody. It's always, thank you, some waves. It's always an interesting thing to transition from meditation into the next thing. And I like to ring a bell. And many times, as we're transitioning from the normal silent meditation from at 250 into this extended first Sunday experience of learning and sharing for about a half an hour, sometimes I lead a guided 5 minutes, maybe breathing in and squeezing, and on the exhale, releasing. What kind of meaning does meditation have for you? Is kind of a question that's been rolling around in my mind. And so I'm going to kind of guide us through a contemplation practice of that. So maybe your eyes are open, maybe your eyes are closed. If you feel like it, tuning into the direct sensation of your breathing. So you don't have to change anything. You could just feel it. When your ribs move slightly, opening on the inhale, you might just notice what that feels like. And as they naturally release and the balloon of the lungs deflates a little bit, you might notice, where in the body does that show up? Awareness of breathing doesn't always work for everyone. So if you'd like a different focus, you might simply place one hand on top of another hand and feel what the skin feels like. Left hand touching the skin of the right hand. There might be some warmth or coolness. There might be some pressure. Just noticing what's actually there and being with it. Present moment awareness of what's true. Either the pressure of one hand against the other, or some variation of watching the breathing. And it's fine to just stay with that. Present moment awareness, another of the definitions for mindfulness. But if you'd like to, it is possible to pay attention to thoughts. The thoughts arise, they fluctuate, they stay for a while, and then they disappear. That's interesting. Just like awareness of the breath can have its moments that are more intense or less intense, awareness of thoughts can feel more intense or less intense. And it can be an experiment to consciously, I guess, invite a specific thought. What kind of meaning does meditation have for me? And there's no need to race after an answer. Maybe an answer popped into your mind, maybe it didn't. And so there's plenty of options for you right now. You might simply be staying with your variation of mindfulness. You might be watching your thoughts arise with the question, what meaning does meditation have for me? It's all real and it's all really valid. If you've never meditated before, if you're one of the newcomers to meditation, you might instead sit with the question, why did I show up here? That's welcome. In fact, anyone, no matter how long you've been meditating, you might have that question. Why did I come to this meditation today on Zoom? And if an answer did percolate, bubble to the surface, seeing if it's possible to let it fade into the background, put it on the background of your experience, and have just an open, questioning field of awareness, and see if there's a new layer underneath the first quicker answer that arose. Is there a deeper answer? Something less verbal, less apparent? Maybe it's just a color that shows up. Maybe it's a tingle along the skin. Or maybe it is verbal. Why did I come to this meditation? Or maybe, what meaning does meditation have for me? When I come to meditation, what do I want? And when I come to meditation, do I sometimes get something that I didn't want or didn't know to want? And again, if any answer or image or felt sense bubbled up, one of your options is to kind of put that to the side for now. You can come back to it anytime you want. And again, coming to the natural rhythm of the breathing or the feeling inside your body or your hands. Being here, present with what's real. And in the last 30 seconds or so of this experience, I'll ring the bell again. Why not? Maybe just listening to the sound. And letting the sound bring you back to a place where you can interact with other people on a Zoom call. So that was a guided contemplation exercise. Um,
Yeah, this is a very nice idea because I think the meaning of meditations kind of changes depending on when you join, because this club, the whole thing, it was established before lockdowns and aimed to connect us during this lockdown time. So maybe it had some meaning, but now it might have changed. I don't know.
yeah, so 1,278 days ago, those of you who were on the first daily call, and as far as I know, it has been consistent every day at 2:50 since that day. And many of you have come and gone, and some folks who are brand new right now, you're starting. You're starting for the next 1,278. And things shift and change over time. And the meaning that it had shifts and change. Oh, Partha tells us Thursday, March 12th, 2020 was the first day. And I showed up on the 1000th day. And in those times, what meditation means to me can change daily. What did you want when you started versus what are you actually getting? These are deeper questions, not superficial.
Hello, I'm Doreen. I'd like to say that meditation for me serves a couple of different purposes. One is it increases my serenity when I'm feeling anxious or disturbed or upset. If I go into a mindful practice, I can calm my nerves. Not always, all the time, but most of the time. So it helps to keep me more peaceful. And it also helps me in my spiritual practices. So I use meditation for both of those things. And what I realize is that if I don't practice it on a regular basis, it goes away. So I need to keep doing it. So that's how it works for me anyway. I have to keep doing it. If I stop doing it, I lose. It's like exercising a muscle. I lose track of it. It goes away. I have to work at it again to get it back. So that's my take on meditation. At least that's the way it is for me.
Great. Thank you, Doreen. Yeah. So I'm hearing that I think one of the things I heard was here for consistency and for the benefits that direct sensation of benefits over time. Thank you. What did you want versus what you got? Some of you long-term folks, you've been here for 1,200 plus days. What did you want and what did you get?
I agree with what Doreen said, but I also the consistency is very important, and the being able to just sort of like feed the better, grateful part of myself, and to kind of let go both the anxieties and also sometimes kind of resentments and the bad things. It's just a lot easier to let those go with a breathing exercise. And then over the long term, I also I find that some days I just need this so much, and then other days, I feel pretty level-headed, but I know that if I don't keep coming, soon I won't be. Or, God forbid, the whole thing could go away if you can maintain the community. So maintaining the community is sort of part of it, but not in an altruistic way. It's because I really need it.
Thanks, Jean. I think I've heard the phrase enlightened self-interest kind of used in that way. Like, yeah, I need it for me. And yeah, I'm supporting everyone else, I swear.
Just thinking about how to maintain calm within these difficult situations, especially now that like professionally I'm working with people who have like serious emotional and behavioral problems. And so like how do you maintain that sort of non-judgmental supportive mindset in the face of maybe like just like verbal abuse, or like just tension between the people I'm working with. And then not even counting my own personal emotions and my own personal life and how to manage the emotions. And what mindfulness has really helped me with, I think, is Like if you take that time to really experience the so-called negative emotion and go, just let yourself feel it completely, you can process it a lot easier than if you like maybe like try to push it away, or maybe like fall in love with it and try to wallow in it. It's just a better way to just go through. Like you feel the emotion and then you're through it and then it's gone.
Yes, please. Yes, please. um, oh, we could do a week-long retreat on that, right? How to maintain inside myself a non-judgmental, supportive mindset in the face of all that. And thank you, Tamar. You used the example from your work, and the clients that you're supporting don't necessarily have that capacity themselves. And so you're doing it for not only yourself, but for the room you're in professionally. Hats off to you. Thank you. Yeah, and so it's a question at all times. So sometimes these the guided contemplation exercise can be done again and again. And this webinar was recorded, and so it will be available. Arthur puts it up, the recording up on a YouTube channel, and I link to it from the Mindful Boston website, and the at250.org website also links to it. So you can use YouTube to listen to that same meditation again and again. And I sometimes call that kind of meditation an onion layer meditation, because an onion has so many layers, and you peel back one layer, and then there's another layer, and then there's another layer, until there's just kind of, hopefully, a kind of peaceful non-layer. And that's one of the reasons why people do this form of meditation day after day for a long time, to see that all the layers exist in their own way, and yet we can have a new relationship to each layer. And so there might be a layer of frustration, and then under my layer of frustration, there might actually be fear. And then under my layer of fear could be an anger. And the onion layers unfold as we sit with them. So, an onion is one thing. I think it's been poetically, an onion is sometimes called a stinking rose, or maybe that's a garlic. But the idea that also rose bushes, and a bud of a rose bush, if you try to force it open, you'll destroy the rosebud, and you won't have that beautiful rosebud thing. Organically allowing things to take the time that they take, that's the rose metaphor. A rosebud blooms on its own and starts to naturally open in a very beautiful way. And the human heart does that too, right? There's a lot of poetry about roses and human hearts having metaphorical links. And the idea of sitting with myself and allowing the layers, right? So the onion layers is one way to say it. The beautiful rose growing in an organic way and unfolding in an organic way, sitting with it, letting it take the time that it naturally needs to open. Even when some of the petals are fear or anger petals, having a deeper faith in the strength of the human heart to open organically. Yeah. And that's the kind of strength that allows service workers, such as yourself, who are working with people who need the type of support that a mindfulness practitioner can provide, to sit with myself and my own anger alone in my own house and let the processing work happen, is what gives me the strength when I go out professionally and I have to hold it You know, the phrase is called hold a space sometimes, and I'm not sure that's such a great term anymore. I think it's lost some of its meaning, but that idea of like, I'm holding a strength, not only for the rose in my own heart, but the rose garden of the people in my life that I do want to care for. I want to give them care. And I want to, in many of my classes, mindfulness classes, people are coming to mindfulness because they're stressed out. And I want to create a rose garden with with enough nutrients in the soil that they can also learn and grow in their way and come up to speed, so that they can do a non-judgmental, supportive thing for themselves eventually. That's what a lot of classrooms are supposed to be for, not for repressing or denying any specific person's behavior, but for letting people grow into themselves and become more strong and more aware and more compassionate and able to take better care of themselves. And if I'm going to be capable of having a classroom where people come to me for the strength of the garden I'm growing, I need to do my own work at home before I walk into a professional situation. And that's one of the beauties that I see here on the at 250 group. I see a lot of regulars kind of coming and going as you need to, but in general, there are familiar faces, and there's a way like, oh, even though I have all this stuff going out there, I've got 10 minutes of reflection, 10 minutes to see familiar faces. And it's part of growing your gardens. I love seeing you guys again and again.
Okay, Partha, would you like to say it, what you wrote?
Yeah, just contemplation. Wonderful analogy, onion one, indeed. And yeah, with regards to what am I or who am I, that's the contemplation technique that I try to use. So it helps me realize that I'm no different in the true sense than all around us. So that helps me help others, and in the process it helps me in return, hopefully. So it's a beautiful way that I try to think of. But yes, this group, it's very nice. It's very enriching. I try to make time in the day when I'm trying to schedule, and also in the evening, although it's a bit late. But thank you all. Thanks a lot. And let's try to see that it continues.
Yes, please. Thanks, Partha. And thanks for the service work you do when you're holding space for the at 250 group in Finland. Yeah, the contemplation of who am I and what am I? I also want to mention that in many traditional situations, Buddhist groups or Hindu groups, if you meditate in those meditation studios or ashrams, it helps to allow the rose of egotism to unfold until you see that all these things that you kind of attach yourself to are things that you can let go of. Yeah. So thanks for mentioning that, like, release of things with the contemplation of, well, what am I? Am I really the name that I use? Am I really the job that I do? Right? What am I? Yeah, and
I
I
also
feel
would like to add that, that sometimes this meditation space sort of plays a role that it's kind of a barrier from some other things that I don't want to occupy me fully, like during the day or as a person, like emotionally. So it creates some sort of a barrier. So in this case, I would be coming into meditation space like from something to keep it away. Maybe if you are too busy or stressed or something else is going on. But it could be also another feeling if my life could lacking something, I would come to the meditation and use it to think about and create or just sit quietly and understand what is lacking in order to bring something from meditation space into my life. So I find those are sometimes two different meanings when you're trying to get away from something or you are trying to get something in your life, to subtract or to add. So that's a meaning of meditation which sometimes may change because it's not even every day like that. Maybe some people can relate as well.
Oh yeah, thank you. That's great. There are many different forms of meditation. If you're doing a guided meditation, if you even look at YouTube, you'll see like, whoa, there's so many different things. And many of it has to do with, well, in the end, what are you coming here for? Right? So sometimes to get away from, create a proper boundary, yes, that can be a very healthy thing that you need. And so definitely use your meditation time for that when you need it. And then one of the things that I was talking about earlier was opening to what's here and what's real. And that's the opposite, right? To put up a boundary against something that you need a break from. That's one awesome way to use your meditation time. And a different way to use your meditation time is to open, maybe contemplate, well, what am I? Am I anything? Right? Like, and having a longer term meditation practice gives you the time to play with that day after day. What kind of meditation are you doing today? And why? That can be a contemplation in itself, right? A little meta moment of contemplating what the contemplation even is. So it can get kind of silly even at times. And I'm seeing that it's time for us to end. Oh, oh, a little bow. Thank you. Bow back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gina.